Hey guys, I'm Nash.
And I am the Duke.
And this is the recap show from the night before the
first round of the tag team tournament.
And we start this by talking about the records of each person. So, we're starting with Apocalyptic Paris Newman,
who currently has a win-loss ratio of 5-4. And while he has lost some notable matches, including a triple threat match and the Last Chance Battle Royale, he's also won a few key matches, including a fatal 4-way, and he has also beaten quite a few of our superstars here. So he is a very strong contender in the Triple F, and he has been doing pretty decent.
Yes.
Anything you want to say about him, Ace?
Up to this point, I think he is a very talented, young, up-and-comer. But, I mean, his record's almost pretty much tied. And he has pretty much one of the cleanest records on the roster right now, in my opinion.
That is also true.
Where it comes to the talent of the wins and losses, he's right there, being up above, like at the top of the win-loss ratios.
They're not quite as high as some people in the league, but we'll get to specific people in a minute. So up next, we're going to talk about Cody the Kid Brown, who has a win-loss record of 3-6. Half of those losses coming from one competitor, the Ubiquitous Tornado, who we will talk about later on in this
the reason
recap.
for this is he attacked the Ubiquitous Tornado and challenged him. Well, he didn't really attack him, but he challenged him to rivalry at the beginning of the league when they were both tied for second place.
This is Spiral Out of Control, where the Ubiquitous Tornado defeated Cody in 3 matches in a row before finally losing to him at full force in a Hell in a Cell match. However, Cody has also lost 2 matches against Volkan, who we will also talk about later on in the show, and he also lost the Elimination Chamber match the night before the first round of the tag team tournament, round 1. So
that's where we're standing with him right now. The next competitor we will talk about is Doug Glatt. He has actually
a very similar record.
For his record, 3-5, he has actually been more of a competitor, in my opinion, than Cody Brown. I don't see how he's got 3 wins and 5 losses, to be honest. I thought a couple of those matches were complete bullshit, but that's just because of how the matches
things are. But he is in the Money in the Bank match, so
yes, and we will talk about the Money in the Bank match probably toward the end of this show, because we've got to talk about how they got there and who's in the Money in the Bank match. Yes. But since he did mention it, Doug Glatt is in the Money in the Bank match.
As is Cody, but we'll again talk about that later on. We'll talk about our thoughts on the Money in the Bank match near the end of this segment. So, once again, Doug Glatt, he is a very competitive wrestler here in the Triple F. But he does have quite a few notable losses, but he does have some notable wins as well. So, keep that in mind. As we move on to our next competitor, who has by far the greatest win ratio out of anybody in the Triple F, and is the current Triple F champion, Dynamite Danny, with a record of 9-1.
Yes, winning the first ever pay-per-view tournament for the title. Dynamite Danny has been on a tear, a complete tear throughout the whole tournament, and he's beat everybody else since, except for the Future, who used his contract clause, or rematch contract clause, to get a rematch, and ended up beating him before, at the very next pay-per-view, losing again
once again losing the title to Dynamite Danny. So Dynamite Danny is now a 2-time champion in a very short amount of time.
In a very short amount of time. And he's also the current champion, like I said. So he will not be in the Money in the Bank match.
Yes, because he already is the champion, so really he has no reason to be in the Money in the Bank match.
Other than that, we got Horatio,
who is the newest addition to the Triple F, but as of late has actually been really
reasonable.
Yes, indeed. He's surprised me.
He has a 3-2 record.
His only losses have been to the Real Deal, as well as the Last Chance Battle Royale, which would have put him in the Money in the Bank match had he won. So both of these losses cost him his chance at Money in the Bank.
And this man, there's something about him. Nobody knows where he came from. Nobody knows anything about the character who is Horatio. And that is one thing that I think gives him a slight advantage in the most matches he's in. But that may just be
no one knows what he's going to do.
Yeah.
No one really knows him. I mean, that's kind of what gives people like him an edge.
Yeah.
So anyway, now that we're done talking about Horatio, let's move on to our next
Paris Dahmer.
Paris Dahmer.
5-5.
Who has one of only 2 completely even records of 5-5.
Yeah.
So he's a 50-50 split in terms of wins and losses. But I do think he has been a really, really good competitor as of late.
He has. He has. Most of his victories have actually come as of late.
Yes, they have. However, he has lost against, of course, the champion Dynamite Danny, as well as Cody the Kid Brown.
And the Dark Passenger. And
he also lost a Fatal 4-Way match and the Last Chance Battle Royale, which would have put him in the Money in the Bank match had he won that match. But
again, we'll talk about how the people who are in the Money in the Bank match got there.
Later on in the show.
Yeah.
So, up next, we have the Dark Passenger, someone we were just talking about, who lately has been, I would say even more so, of a outstanding wrestler than Dahmer recently.
Yeah. The Dark Passenger was also a later entry. He was like a week or 2 late, I believe, into the broadcast, but he is at 6-2 right now,
which is a very good record, especially for someone who hasn't been in the Triple F as long as some of these other competitors.
And he's only lost to the Ubiquitous Tornado
and Paris Dahmer.
The Ubiquitous Tornado has been on a tear,
but we'll talk about Tornado later.
You know,
also been on a tear as well.
Yeah.
And the Dark Passenger is indeed in the Money in the Bank match, along with 3 other competitors that we have not talked about yet. So keep waiting. We're gonna reveal all of them in due time. So I will say the Dark Passenger is definitely on a roll very recently, and I do think he has a good shot at eventually getting to the top.
Yeah.
So up next we have the Future, who is the former champion of the Triple F.
And the Future, another very kind of funny story, actually.
Yes, I do consider him very talented. He is a very talented wrestler.
But a lot of people would say he's delusional because he thinks he's from the future, hence the name The Future. He believes he's some type of time traveler.
Or something similar to that. But currently his win-loss record is 4-6. However, you have to kind of understand that 4 of those losses came from the
Dynamite Danny,
the current Triple F champion. So it's not really all that unreasonable. His only other 2 losses came from a Fatal 4-Way match and Paris Dahmer.
Which is why some of the records that are at the bottom are still at the top. Because, you know, you can see him at 4-6, but he's been the #1 contender for who knows how long.
Yes, I would say that he and Dark Passenger are definitely probably the closest to being the #1 contender for the title to face Dynamite Danny.
Yeah, but of course, the Future had to relinquish his
title to Dynamite Danny on
and the #1 contender spot because
he is not in the Money in the Bank match.
But again, that doesn't guarantee a #1 contender spot.
That is
I'm
also
just saying
true.
he had to let it go because of.
For now, I'm sure he can make a comeback.
Yeah,
I don't doubt his skills. Don't doubt the Future in terms of his skills.
Yeah, but he can't. They don't want to have that repeating the same match every week.
Right.
So he decided to take a step back and let somebody else give it a shot.
Yes.
From stealing the belt from Dynamite Danny.
Yes. And up next, we're going to talk about another Money in the Bank contender, The Real Deal, whose record right now is 2-6. But despite this, I do think he does have talent. I mean, he did get in the Money in the Bank match, so.
And that's the funny thing. He got in the Money in the Bank match with a 2-6 record.
Oh, but that's
nothing to play with.
It's not.
If you're in the Money in the Bank match, you're nothing to play with.
So I'm not going to doubt The Real Deal just yet. But he does have quite a few losses on his record, which do contribute to probably some people kind of not really. They kind of underestimate him. I honestly think that's probably what caused Horatio's downfall against The Real Deal at Full Force. He probably underestimated The Real Deal based on his current record, and then was completely dominated by The Real Deal at Full Force.
Yes, but with Horatio targeting everybody, I'm surprised he would take that lightly.
I am too.
In any case. But moving on to the ubiquitous Tornado, who actually thinks the Future is his dad for some reason. I don't know. He looks like a gay clown to me.
Or well, that red hair. I mean,
whatever. I don't know. He's just a weird character, and I'm not bashing him because he's obviously beat a lot of great names.
Indeed, he
beat Cody the Kid Brown three
times, so he's nothing to mess around with.
And he's beat who else did he beat?
He's beaten Volkan.
And
he has beaten the Dark Passenger, who we talked about earlier as being a very strong contender.
The Dark Passenger again. He is a very tough competitor. He's only lost 2 matches.
So I think this really does give the ubiquitous Tornado a bit more, reason to say, a bit more of a competitive stance, as in he is quite dominant, but he does have his ups and downs, as we can clearly tell. He has a very even record of 5-5, and that same record is only shared by Paris Dahmer.
And yeah. But moving on,
we have Tremor.
Let's talk about Tremor for a minute, okay? He came into the league and lost his debut match to Cody the Kid Brown, but he showed potential. And for him to be 2-7 right now, I am in complete shock. I mean,
his first win did come from a 6-man tag match against the Wyatt family, where he was also on a team with Glatt and Newman.
Yes, but he also
won a singles match against Apocalyptic Paris Newman, which I do think personally gives him a little bit more of a dominant presence here.
But also, in every match he's been in, he has been one of the most aggressive competitors.
Yes, he is very aggressive, and I do think that can give him an edge.
But it can also be his weakness, and I think that may be why he's partially 2-7.
Yes. However, he is in the Money in the Bank match, so like we said with The Real Deal and his 2-6 record, being in the Money in the Bank match does mean that you do have something going for you. So I would not underestimate Tremor either.
And on to our last superstar before we talk about
the Money in the
the
Bank
Money in the
match.
Bank.
And this competitor is also the final superstar in the Money in the Bank match, Volkan, who has a current record of 5 wins and 6 losses. Now, he is a very strong competitor. He has beaten quite a few other very good competitors, including Cody the Kid Brown.
He is the only person on the roster who has beat Cody the Kid Brown, who hasn't been beaten by Cody the Kid Brown.
That is also true.
And also, he has beaten a number of other people,
including The Real Deal and, well, we already talked about Cody the Kid Brown.
Yeah, and Cesaro, who is a WWE superstar, but he beat him actually a couple times.
And Volkan was actually the winner of the Last Chance Battle Royale, which put him in the running for the Money in the Bank.
No. You got that wrong. I will correct you on that. He beat Cesaro in a cage match to get into the Money in the Bank. The winner of the Last Chance Battle Royale.
Are you sure about this, Ace?
Yes, I am.
Because I have the results right here of the Money in the Bank match. The Last Chance Battle Royale was won by Volkan. I am sure. That is the official that is from the official Triple F website, which again is in the description below. You can check out all the news and the roster, as well as some of the videos there.
Disregarding my blatant mistake right there.
We are sorry about some mistakes that we might make throughout this.
Yeah, we are human.
We do.
But we will now move on to talk about
the Money in the Bank match.
The Money in the Bank match, which I will need this for because we didn't put it on the screen.
We will put the picture on the screen as you will see now. So let's talk about the Money in the Bank match. Our standing right now is we have the Dark Passenger, Cody the Kid Brown, The Real Deal, Tremor, Doug Glatt, and Volkan all in the match.
Yes. And here is how they got there. The Dark Passenger beat Paris Dahmer at
full force.
At full force.
In order to enter the
Money in the Bank match. I actually kind of forget what type of match that was.
It's getting difficult for me to remember as well. It has been a little while since
if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was the TLC match.
I think it was.
I could be wrong about that though.
But you can check for yourself on the Triple F TV playlist.
On the Quantum Flux Network. Only $9.99.
No, you're getting it wrong. Only $0.00 a month. Go subscribe.
Yes, seriously. Subscribe, follow, and also do that here, so we can keep you up to date.
Yes. And Cody the Kid Brown entered the match by beating the ubiquitous Tornado.
In a Hell in a Cell, where, unfortunately, the match never left the ring.
Oh, yes, that's right. It never left the ring.
Surprising.
So up next, we have The Real Deal.
The Real Deal beat Horatio
at full force in a last man standing match in order to enter the Money in the Bank match. And remember, all the losers, they went to the Last Chance Battle Royale.
Next, we have Tremor versus Apocalyptic Paris Newman. Tremor got it, but by throwing Paris Newman through a table, if I'm not mistaken, because I believe that was a tables match. And then Doug Glatt and Volkan, which is the match I got confused. I don't know how I got them two confused. But that was a cage match where
Doug Glatt
Doug Glatt beat Volkan. I just missed that.
But Volkan may have his revenge at Money in the Bank because he did go on to win the Last Chance Battle Royale.
But of course, I would not call that revenge because it's a 6-man match.
That is also
And the best way to get revenge is one-on-one, hand-to-hand combat. I punch you, you punch me. We see who lasts the longest. Would you like to try that?
I don't think I would.
Exactly, because I would last longer than you. But
So all 6 of these competitors are very, very strong competitors. I mean, they got in this match in the first place. They all have a shot to obtain Money in the Bank, which they can cash in at any time if they obtain it. That is, in order to have a match for the FFF Championship title.
I will correct you on that. That, guys, that is not true.
Oh.
That is how it works in the WWE, but in the FFF, it only awards bonus points.
Ah. Which influence the rankings, which we do not have on us right here, but you can look those up, once again, at the FFF's website down below in the description.
And you can tune in next time for more
Ace and Duke. We'll see you guys at the next recap.